In the heart of one of the world's wealthiest nations, a chilling reality unfolds, often hidden in plain sight. According to the most recent data from the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness, over 235,000 Canadians experience homelessness every year. This number has been steadily increasing with a 20% rise since 2018. This staggering number represents a significant increase from just a decade ago, highlighting a troubling trend. It's a stark reminder that behind Canada's prosperous facade lies a growing crisis that demands urgent attention. This is the story of homelessness in Canada, a narrative that is both heartbreaking and eye-opening. It's a story of hardship, resilience, and the urgent need for change, a call to action for all Canadians. Across the country, from bustling metropolises to smaller towns, the face of homelessness is becoming increasingly visible and impossible to ignore. Individuals from all walks of life, families with young children, veterans who served their country, and youth struggling to find their footing, are finding themselves without a safe and stable place to call home, a situation that can happen to anyone. The reasons behind this surge in homelessness are complex and multifaceted, involving a web of interconnected issues. They are deeply intertwined with systemic issues that have been festering for decades, issues that require comprehensive solutions. This video delves into the alarming rise of homelessness in Canada, examining the intricate interplay of economic, social, and political factors that contribute to this pressing issue, and the potential pathways to address it. We will explore the role of housing affordability, mental health services, and social safety nets in either mitigating or exacerbating the problem, and how these elements can be improved. Through personal narratives and statistical data, we aim to shed light on the human cost of homelessness and the urgent need for comprehensive solutions that address the root causes. The issue of homelessness is not merely a matter of statistics or policy debates, but a deeply human crisis. It is about real people, each with their own unique story of hardship, resilience, and the struggle for survival, stories that deserve to be heard and understood. By understanding the root causes of homelessness and the experiences of those directly affected, we can begin to formulate effective strategies to address this crisis and create a more just and equitable society for all Canadians, ensuring that everyone has a place to call home.
Several underlying factors contribute to the rise in homelessness, each rooted in complex personal and societal challenges. Violence and abuse. Domestic violence is a significant cause of homelessness, especially for women. Those fleeing abusive situations often struggle to find affordable housing. Emergency shelters, while a lifeline for many, are frequently at capacity, and the time individuals can stay is limited, leaving many without long-term options. For youth, experiences of emotional, physical, or sexual abuse at home can also lead to homelessness. Fleeing unsafe environments, many young people find themselves with nowhere to go, increasing their vulnerability. Mental health and substance abuse. Mental health issues and substance abuse are also key contributors to homelessness. The policies of deinstitutionalization, coupled with cuts to community-based support systems, leave many without the care they need. People transitioning from institutional care, whether from healthcare, corrections, or child welfare, often lack sufficient support, putting them at high risk of becoming homeless. Personal circumstances. Homelessness can also arise from personal circumstances unrelated to abuse or mental health. Family breakdowns, such as separations or divorces, can leave individuals without stable housing. Childhood trauma or abuse can further increase the likelihood of homelessness later in life. Disruptive life events, such as losing a job, house fires, or the sudden onset of a disability, can also lead to homelessness. For many, these personal crises result in an inability to afford housing, particularly in cities where the cost of living far outpaces wage growth. Immigration and refugee crisis. Canada has seen an influx of refugees and immigrants in recent years. While many find support in housing, a significant number end up homeless due to the challenges of integration and lack of affordable housing.
At the heart of this crisis is the stark disparity between wages and the soaring cost of living. Housing affordability has become a nationwide issue, with many of Canada's largest cities experiencing severe shortages of affordable rental units. This imbalance is one of the major drivers of the current homelessness crisis in the country. In Toronto, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in 2024 is around 2,500 Canadian dollars. Meanwhile, the average monthly wage is approximately 5,400 Canadian dollars. This creates a substantial affordability gap, with rent consuming about 46% of the average income. Taxes further diminish earnings in Toronto, with a significant portion of income going to federal and provincial taxes. This leaves many residents with less than half their wage to cover essential costs, making it difficult to manage daily expenses. Basic monthly costs, such as groceries, add to this burden. In Toronto, groceries can range from $400 to $600 per month. Utilities like electricity, water, and internet typically cost an additional $200 to $300 monthly. Transportation is another essential expense for Toronto residents, with costs ranging from $150 to $250 per month for public transit or gas for commuting. After accounting for all these costs, many residents struggle to stay financially stable. On the opposite coast in Vancouver, the situation is even worse. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is approximately $2,800, while the average monthly wage is about $5,300. With rent consuming about 53% of the average wage, Vancouverites are left with little to cover other necessities. Taxes, much like in Toronto, further reduce their take-home pay, making it difficult to keep up with the cost of living. Groceries in Vancouver can cost around $400 to $650 per month, while utilities add another $200 to $300. Transportation expenses, whether for public transit or car commuting, typically cost between $150 and $250. Both Toronto and Vancouver illustrate the larger issue. A significant portion of wages is going toward rent and taxes, leaving little for other essential expenses. This financial strain is pushing many Canadians closer to homelessness. Although we've used Toronto and Vancouver, two cities from opposite corners of the country, as examples, this issue extends nationwide. The rising cost of living is outpacing wage growth across Canada, creating an affordability crisis. In cities like Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, and Ottawa, similar dynamics are playing out. Rent is increasingly eating into wages, leaving many unable to afford basic necessities like food and utilities. The housing crisis has a particularly devastating impact on low-income earners, who often face impossible choices between paying rent and covering other essential costs. Many are forced to rely on shelters or temporary accommodations. The shortage of affordable housing is further worsened by long waiting lists for social housing and limited government investment in affordable housing projects. The private rental market tends to prioritize luxury developments over affordable options. As a result, families and individuals across Canada are being pushed into overcrowded shelters, or worse, onto the streets. This lack of stable housing has a cascading effect on physical and mental health, employment, and education. Addressing this housing crisis is critical not only for providing shelter, but also for ensuring a stable, dignified life for all Canadians. The housing crisis is a key factor driving the rise in homelessness nationwide, and immediate action is needed to reverse the trend.
Mental health, a silent epidemic, amplifying homelessness. Mental health issues often play a significant role in the lives of those experiencing homelessness. These issues are frequently overlooked, yet they are a critical component of the homelessness crisis. The trauma of living on the streets, coupled with pre-existing mental health conditions, creates a vicious cycle that can be difficult to break. This cycle perpetuates a state of constant instability and fear. The lack of access to adequate mental health services further exacerbates the problem, leaving many individuals without the support they need to address their challenges and rebuild their lives. This gap in services is a glaring issue that needs immediate attention. A 2024 report from the Mental Health Commission of Canada indicates that a significant number of homeless individuals struggle with mental health issues and substance abuse. Nearly 50% of homeless individuals report having a mental illness, and over 30% have an addiction. Despite the clear link between mental health and homelessness, access to adequate mental health services remains woefully inadequate. This inadequacy is a significant barrier to recovery and stability. Long wait times for appointments, a shortage of mental health professionals, and the stigma surrounding mental illness act as barriers to seeking and receiving timely and appropriate care. These barriers prevent many from getting the help they desperately need. Addressing the mental health needs of those experiencing homelessness is crucial to breaking the cycle of poverty and despair. Comprehensive support systems are essential for meaningful change. Furthermore, addressing the root causes of homelessness, such as poverty and lack of affordable housing, can help create a more supportive environment for individuals struggling with mental health challenges. A holistic approach is necessary for lasting solutions.
Failing safety nets. When support systems crumble. Social safety nets are designed to provide a crucial lifeline for individuals and families facing difficult times. However, for many Canadians at risk of or experiencing homelessness, these safety nets are failing to provide adequate support. Social assistance programs intended to provide a financial safety net for those in need often fall short of meeting basic needs. Furthermore, the lack of coordination among different service providers creates additional challenges for those seeking assistance. Individuals may need to navigate a fragmented system, interacting with multiple agencies for different needs, such as housing, healthcare, and employment support. This lack of integration can be overwhelming and discouraging, particularly for those already facing significant challenges. Strengthening Canada's social safety nets is essential to preventing and reducing homelessness.
Despite government initiatives to address homelessness, such as the National Housing Strategy, the number of homeless individuals continues to rise. A 2024 report from the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness shows that while these policies have had some impact, they are not sufficient to meet the growing demand for affordable housing and support services. Infrastructure Canada plans to allocate $561 million annually to homelessness programs. This funding offers housing support and related services to tens of thousands of individuals who are either homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. Since 2018, the number of homeless individuals has risen by 20%. The Canadian government's National Housing Strategy aims to cut chronic homelessness by 50% by the year 2027 to 28. However, the Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that an additional $3.5 billion per year would be necessary to meet this target.
The rise in homelessness in Canada is a multifaceted issue driven by a combination of economic factors, social challenges, and systemic failures. The significant disparity between wages and the cost of living, particularly in housing, exacerbates the situation. Additionally, factors such as domestic violence, mental health and substance abuse, personal crises, and the lack of affordable housing options have created a perfect storm that leaves many individuals and families without stable shelter. The alarming increase in homelessness underscores the urgent need for comprehensive solutions that address both immediate needs and the root causes of the crisis. As the number of homeless individuals continues to grow, it is clear that existing strategies and funding are insufficient to reverse this trend.
To effectively combat homelessness, a coordinated approach is essential. Policymakers, community organizations, and citizens need to collaborate to create and implement sustainable solutions. Here are some key actions we can take. Increase funding. Advocate for increased government funding to homelessness programs and affordable housing initiatives. An investment in these areas is crucial for providing immediate relief and long-term stability. Enhance support services. Expand access to mental health and addiction support services, particularly for vulnerable populations. This includes improving transitional services for individuals moving from institutions back into the community. Strengthen social safety nets. Review and enhance social assistance programs to ensure they adequately meet the needs of those at risk of homelessness. This includes increasing housing allowances to reflect current market conditions. Promote affordable housing development. Encourage the development of affordable housing units through public-private partnerships and incentives for builders. This will help to alleviate the shortage of stable housing options available to low-income individuals and families. Raise awareness. Engage communities in conversations about homelessness to reduce stigma and foster empathy. Increased awareness can lead to greater community involvement in supporting those affected by homelessness. By taking action now, we can break the cycle of homelessness and create a brighter future for all Canadians. Homelessness is undeniably on the rise, and the real challenge is tackling the root causes. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We need to keep raising awareness. If you found this video informative and valuable, we invite you to support our channel by subscribing. Your subscription enables us to continue producing content that highlights important issues and offers useful travel information. Thank you for watching.